A truly iconic opening movie that just brings back nostalgia every time I hear it, I can't lie. Welcome to the worst decision of my life. Welcome to the World at War campaign on veteran difficulty. We start the campaign with Indochina, which consists of Vietnam, Cambodia, and a few other countries. America was wanting Japanese troops to withdraw from these countries, and they ended up cutting off the oil supply to Japan. Japan then retaliated with an attack on a lagoon harbour on the Isle of Oahu, Hawaii, Pearl Harbor. This was the action taken for war to be declared on the United States by Japan. Now, despite their efforts and wanting to stay out of the war, America was forced to join. We are introduced to Private Miller of the 34th Infantry Division. Makin Island is where Japanese troops were for days after the attack on Pearl Harbor to protect the eastern flank of Japan. The Makin Island raid that happened on August 17th, 1942 is where we start. Miller's team has been there for about a week with nothing reported. It is believed that the whole of his squad are either dead or at least missing in action. The first mission we play is called Semper Fi. We start in a prisoner of war camp as Private Miller, where we see our squad being tortured as Japanese try and get information. The order for our execution is given, and I will say this is one of the most brutal starts to a game I have ever seen. It's hard to believe I was about 10 or 11 years old when I first saw this opening scene. As we watch Private Pyle get his throat cut and the two outside are beaten to death, that just leaves us.
Miller.
That is until Corporal Roebuck comes in and saves our life. We are told to grab a rifle as our strike team drops some bombs, and we take our first death as I was AFK. I grab a Type 100 and an M1 Garand. We run forward, take a bit of damage until we are close to death, but we survive. We have a look around this first hut and see this guy running across. We take a couple of shots at him and miss, and this was the first sign that this was going to be a lot more difficult than I thought. I had to include that iconic sound at least once in this. Pushing up, and you can clearly see this guy behind the corner, but I couldn't apparently. He takes a shot and I react by shooting him in the dick until he dies. I definitely wasn't prepared for this at all, but we saved Private Ryan from the burning guy attacking him. I'm sure you'll know this, but this is actually an achievement that you get called Saving Private Ryan. The next hut we get to holds another surprise. There is a machine gun post that we clear, but we need to make sure that they don't get another crew to operate it. We get behind cover just to be shot in the back. I then apparently didn't learn, as I made the exact same mistake. Switching to the Type 100 on the next life, determined to learn from the previous times, but the captured soldier is killed before we can rescue him. We get close to making it out of the huts and into the trees just as we die to someone that we can't see. As I am shooting, Private Rucker decides to stand up right in the line of fire. We make it to the trees as one of the Marines runs into a trap, triggering an explosive and an ambush attack. We survive and push up to help the rescue team that are currently stuck on the beach and unable to move. We ironically rescue the rescue team that was sent to rescue us. We follow this river up and come across some Japanese soldiers who appear to be dead. That is until another ambush and another grenade is thrown at us. I try to throw it back, but yeah. We clear them and move up to the next section, turning the corner and just getting absolutely destroyed before we even get a chance to react. Moving on to the next life, and we appear to be shot by a rock and then finally killed by a grenade. I forgot to add the counter while I was recording, so I'll add it at the end of each mission, but at this point we are in double digits of deaths. Also, purely out of my curiosity, I have added in a grenade counter for every grenade that gets thrown at us for this whole campaign. Back at the checkpoint, and we get 3 grenades thrown at us, so I'll throw the first one back, I throw the second one back, and then the third one, and I decide to run just because all I wanted to do was reload. We finally get through to the truck where we put a hole in the barrel and Roebuck lights it and off it goes down the road. Our next objective is to plant an explosive in the ammo bunker, which we managed to do. We make our way to the extraction point where we get hit by an explosive and a guy with a sword. I am not counting that as a grenade, as it is something you cannot avoid. On the boat, and we extract while we watch the explosives go off. We complete Semper Fi with 14 deaths and 45 grenades thrown. The second mission is an assault where we need to take over an airfield and disrupt the supply network. The three people you will hear of constantly are Sergeant Roebuck, Sergeant Sullivan and Private Miller. Little resistance starts with us in the water heading towards the beach of Pelelu Island. While we are heading to the beach of this island, Sullivan tells us that we have a radio to call in rocket strikes. We watch as one of the soldiers in front of us and the driver both get shot in the head. Absolutely brutal. We call in the first airstrike onto the beach that will help us get on and towards the tree line. I get distracted and start standing in a puddle. However, there is a reason for this. If you've been around the Call of Duty scene for some time, you will know why. For those of you that don't know, allow me to catch you up. This game was released in 2008, and during the development of this game, one of the devs, Jesse Snyder, who was involved in the creation of the Zombies game mode, made an Easter egg to the campaign on this mission. He revealed in 2020 that he was almost fired for putting this into Little Resistance, but either way, shout out to Jesse for this because this is such a cool Easter egg. As you see the statues rise, you walk over to one of the dogs, and we now have a ray gun. So we have a ray gun that we can use on a World War II mission. That doesn't stop us from taking another death though. We call in another strike and I get an achievement that I thought I already had. As we push up, a grenade is thrown and I panic. I'm not sure what happened here as it looks like the shots are going through him. I noticed a problem that we have with the teammates in this game. So with the previous mission, we had a guy that stood up as I was firing. We get a grenade thrown at us and this guy throws it at the fucking wall. We then have an additional 2 grenades at us. I throw one of them back, but we die because he has the arms of a 2-year-old. We respawn and decide to go again, and he decides to do an underarm at the wall this time. At least it stays near the wall, and I decide I now trust this tree more than I trust my teammates. We push through the trenches and start to make our way towards the bunker. We go through the bunker to start flanking them, and it doesn't take long for them to realise we are here. The machine gun you can see on the right is where we need to get to. We make it through and we clear the bunker as well. We mount the machine gun as we need to clear the mortar pit, which takes some time, but we do it. We call in another strike, this time to destroy the tank, and it takes about 4 or 5 shots off the ray gun to destroy the second tank. We group up with Roebuck, Sullivan and Polonsky.
Wait for the Major's orders.
Where do we rest?
Soon, Polonsky. Sullivan, no! Hold on! You're gonna be okay! 4 men!
We end Little Resistance with 10 deaths and 28 grenades. With Sergeant Tom Sullivan now dead, Sergeant Roebuck is our leader. He is who we will be taking orders from. Going into the third mission, Hard Landing, which is a continuation from the last mission, we need to get to the airfield and take it. We start in a swamp, with Roebuck telling us that arrangements were made for Sullivan's body to be sent back to the States. It isn't long before we are ambushed due to there being a trap on a downed US aircraft. This was shot down by an anti-aircraft gun or AA gun on the airfield that we are trying to take. We push up to prepare to storm the bunkers using one of my personal favourite World War II guns, the BAR. Known for its slow fire rate and small magazine but great accuracy and low recoil. We then get 7 grenades thrown at us. No surprise that we die. We make it into the bunker and fight our way through, stabbing this guy with a bayonet and push through to another bunker that is pretty much destroyed. We need to provide suppressive fire so that the flamethrower can get to the bunker. That is until our flamethrower guy dies, and it is down to us to burn the bunker. We make our way through and come to an open bit of land with some trees as they take down another plane and we are ambushed again. We push up and we now need to clear this building. Again, another example of our teammates becoming an issue. I get trapped as one of them is just standing there. I can't move and die. We grab another M1, this time it has a grenade launcher on it. I decided to take my time with this mission because I didn't want that many deaths. I also had a genius plan of shooting this guy through Roebuck's legs, but apparently I can't because that's classed as his hitbox. We make it into the building, and while I am using this pillar as cover, Roebuck is blocking me and I got an idea. We move through the building, which was also used in the Zombies game mode. We finally make it to the airfield, which was also a map in the multiplayer called Airfield. I know the ideas must have just been flowing in 2007 and 2008 for the names of maps. Our next step is using a bazooka to try and destroy 3 tanks. The last one proved to be a bit more difficult just to get a shot on with the amount of destroyed vehicles on the airfield, but we do it and we push up a little and make it into the trenches. We keep moving towards the 4 AA guns. These are manned by 2 people on each gun. We take out all of the crews pretty quickly. It makes it faster that I'm using an Arisaka, and with that done, we group up and radio Major Gordon to let him know that we have the airfield base and the AA guns are no longer in use. That is until a counterattack starts and we now have to defend the bunker. We are told by Roebuck to get on one of the AA guns to destroy the tanks. This ends up being pretty much impossible. As soon as you get onto one, you die. I try the one on the right and it's the exact same thing. I tried to use a different strat for this. I don't know if it's worth doing this. I threw a smoke, start bringing the gun down, hop off, wait for my health to regenerate, then get back on. It turns out all we had to do was just wait for the airstrike. And the airfield is now ours. We end hard landing with 39 deaths, 20 of which were of me being impatient pretty much, and 21 grenades. We switch over from the Pacific Theater to our first mission on the Eastern Front. We play as Private Petrenko for these. We start in Stalingrad, Russia. We load into our first mission on the Eastern Front where we lay among the dead. We see German soldiers killing Russian soldiers that are moving among the dead bodies as we lay still and wait for them to pass and the planes pass overhead as we start vendetta. We move forward and we see that there is one other person alive with us. He tells us to be quiet. This is Sergeant Viktor Reznov. Not gonna lie, he's one of my favorite characters in this game. I'm actually gonna say this, he's one of my favorite characters in the whole Black Ops series because he's in the Black Ops series as well. He asks us to do as he says as we move among the dead and more planes go overhead. He tells us to take his sniper rifle, a Mosin Nagant. He can no longer use it due to his hand being injured. We see General Heinrich Hamsel for the first time, who ordered the attack on Stalingrad. Reznov tells us he has been hunting him for more than 3 days. We wait for more planes to fly over so that we can use the noise to mask our gunshots. And we take out pretty much the whole patrol just with a sniper and a couple of bullets. We've got one more guy that comes to check on the patrol, and then a dog which almost reveals our location and follows us. We move up until we are stopped by an armoured patrol and we have to go another route. We move through a nearby bar that is on fire. Reznov gives us an iconic line, but I can't lie, this whole monologue is just incredible.
For days, I have crept through shadows like a rat. This place once echoed with conversations of friends and lovers. No longer. Mark my words, comrade. One day things will change. We will take the fight to their land, to their people, to their blood.
We're shot at by a sniper and we need to take him out. We see the building he is in and what floor he's on, but he knows where we are also. I mean, I thought that shot hit him, but I guess not. I tried to stick to the shadows this time. At least I did better that time. I wounded him that time. I didn't just graze him. So we've got a decoy to consider as well. I grazed him again even though it looked like I hit him, and at this point I realise I am holding my breath too early, and apparently Petrenko has a lung capacity of someone who has smoked 20 a day for 30 years. I then graze him.
You need to take a different position.
And then I wound him. And then finally, after 17 deaths and 15 minutes, the sniper is down. Now, we need to keep moving with him gone. I noticed something interesting with this door opening. Yes, I'm a nerd, we know this by now. But it is the same noise as when you open the mystery box in Zombies. Wait, we move through the building as a patrol passes by with dogs. And I'm just gonna guess that the clock gave us away from chiming, because all of a sudden the dogs start barking. We're found and flamethrowers start coming through the windows. We take an insta-death. This part is so difficult. You have people shooting at you through the windows and you can't take them out because the fire gets you. When you get shot, you can't recover health because the fire gets you. And then you just die too much on that part. Anyway, Reznov decides he's just not going to move fast enough and we die again. We finally get through, just avoiding a grenade, only to have a wooden beam fall on us, and we can't take it off. It's too hot for us to touch, but for some reason Reznov forgets that he has a bad hand and he manages to lift it off us. We leave the burning building. We watch as Reznov gets ejected from the building, and then he gets punt kicked by Randy Orton back in 2009. We are then saved by some Russian soldiers and we take the high ground with the sniper, and Reznov gives us a great strat.
Will incinerate anyone standing nearby.
So we make it to another part of the building and I pick up another sniper, this time the PTRS-41. A semi-auto sniper, and in this game it is just that, a sniper rifle. However, in reality, it was designed to take 14.5 by 114mm cartridges to penetrate tank armor. To compare this, a 50 caliber bullet for a Barrett M82 is 12.7 by 99mm. The PTRS was made in 1941, the year before this mission was set in, while the Barrett was made in 1989. Interestingly enough, both guns are still used in battle to this day. Back to the campaign, we continue sniping as I find this easier than using any other gun. We die through the wall, I guess. I don't actually know what happened there. Next life, we kill the two gunners and we stand up and instantly die. Next try and we actually make progress. Kind of. This is when I remember that there was an MP40 that I can go and pick up, so I do just that and I accidentally shoot Reznov and we get back to the checkpoint. We still push forward as Reznov leads us to the perfect sniper position so that we can eliminate General Amsel. As he leaves the command post, we notice that he's gone behind the tank. A lot of patience in this one, but General Amsel is now gone. I think they noticed, so we've got to run now. We get a bunch of grenades thrown at us just before we leave, jumping into the river. We end Vendetta with 26 deaths and 10 grenades thrown. We stay on the Eastern Front as Germany planned to capture Moscow by winter of 1941. 3 years after Vendetta, we start their land, their blood. We have been captured and we start to wake up as we see 3 German soldiers. Petrenko tries to grab a gun as he gets booted in the face. All of them turn to us with their guns out, ready to shoot. Once again, we are saved, and obviously it's Viktor Reznov. Our main objective is to advance to the river. I'm surprised I didn't die here. We get a checkpoint. We grab a Panzerschreck to destroy 4 tanks. I've already got 2 tanks at this point, there's just 2 left. I fire a shot at the third one, fire a second shot, and it is destroyed. And there it is, that is all 4 tanks destroyed, and we make our way to the barn where there's another tank. 2 more shots and that tank is destroyed as well. We move through the barn and we get to sit on the tank and ride a tank, as apparently we've deserved it according to Reznov. We get to a camp that we have to make our way through, and this is where it starts. We move up and get a checkpoint. Little did I know at the time I would return to this checkpoint multiple times. I get stuck behind a teammate again and I end up dying. This is kind of where it took me over the edge a tiny bit, and after 30 deaths and 98 grenades just from this checkpoint, I rage quit for the day. Next day, I load back in, and even my own Xbox is preying on my downfall, as it decides to try and sync to the cloud. After an additional 9 deaths and 32 grenades, we progress, and at this point I am begging for a checkpoint. I am literally just waiting, trying not to take any fights, and it suddenly shows up. Now here's the thing that I find weird about this campaign. At this point I hadn't had a checkpoint for a very long time. I get that guy and I get a second checkpoint in like 10 seconds. We keep pushing up as they retreat, and I feel like I maybe have pushed up a little bit too much. We try pushing up again. I watch as a grenade flies towards me. We destroy the tank and clear the area. Reznov gives his victory speech, and we finish their land, their blood with 49 deaths and 136 grenades. We go back to the Pacific Theatre as Private Miller. After taking the airfield, we need to work through the trenches to eliminate mortar pits. We start burning them out in the trenches with the flamethrower. I, for some reason, thought I could only use this and not my other gun. It took me 3 deaths to realise I had an M1. This is where I decide to play a bit slower and a bit more patiently, as a friendly grenade lands in front of me and I just kind of accept fate. I can't lie. We again work patiently and slowly, and it is clear we have a teammate in, but they all respawn and we go back to the checkpoint because we got stabbed in the heart. We again walk in and I look as I see them all spawn in, and it's back to the checkpoint we go again. Next life, and I try getting behind cover, but Private Page is there just looking around, not really doing anything. I decide the best course of action once I've got that guy is to try and run in to trigger the spawn, but nothing happens, so I'm guessing it's clear. Yeah, apparently that's all I needed to do, and it is definitely clear now. On to the second one. Roebuck is ahead of us and Polonsky hits us with this useful information after we die. Next, we see Roebuck shooting at wood, and I learn from my mistakes. Look in the trees. We watch as Polonsky throws a nade that bounces off the barrel in front of him, and I have no words for the teammates on the Pacific Theatre. They annoyed me so much. We, again, push in and they all spawn in again, but we are able to push through and clear the mortar pit as well. The only problem is there is a guy that is in one of the trees that is just invincible, so that's really good. Iron sight Arisaka now in hand, we take a shot at this guy and collat our teammate. Our teammate dies and the other guy survives somehow. I throw a grenade just for this guy to run into it, and with the bunker cleared, we head out and instantly get deleted. We go back in the bunker just to get attacked from behind, but we counter it. After what happened last time, we take our time, and I never thought I'd jiggle peek in a COD campaign, but it feels necessary. Watch as another guy runs out and he gets his head taken off. He's no longer with us. But we finally make it into the pit and closer to the last mortar site. We get to the next bunker and get absolutely swarmed. We now have to make our way through the tunnel to get to the last pit. We get slaughtered by a guy head glitching. We make it through the tunnel and to the final mortar pit. I just have no accuracy or patience at this point as 2 more people spawn. We enter the mortar pit and we end burn them out with 49 deaths and 95 grenades. With the airfield captured and no more mortar pits, we head into the jungle and to the point Pilelu in hopes that we can capture the island. Next mission, Relentless, starts with us on a tank and a warning of close quarters combat. For this mission we start with a Browning M1919. We have to clear out the 2 anti-tank positions so that our tanks can make it through, and after 15 minutes and 12 deaths I get to the furthest point I have got to in this mission and I die. After another 15 minutes, we get back to the same point. This time we survive and push up. With one of the positions cleared, it is time to move on to the next one. We get 1 grenade thrown at us, then a second. Okay, 3, 4, 5. You know what? I'm just going to run away. We finally push up and this guy has a heart attack or something because there's literally no enemies around and he just dies. No one seems phased by this at all. Like, this guy just... I don't even know what happened. After clearing the anti-tank guns, we push to this cave entrance and into the cave after following a flame tank so that we can take the point. Our objective once we get through these caves is to eliminate and take the AA guns. I will say I really like the sound design on this game. As we get the last enemy, you hear the music and all of the guns and just everything falls silent. We finish Relentless with 43 deaths and 111 grenades thrown. Back on the eastern front we go with Private Petrenko, and Rezanov talks about the tanks and how we will push through Silo to Berlin. We start Blood and Iron, a mission where you drive a tank. Our first objective is to eliminate artillery, which has gone fast, and there's no grenades in this mission, so we don't even need to think about that. First off this, we have no deaths. We get killed just before the checkpoint, but once through, we continue to the end. We end Blood and Iron with only 4 deaths, and it is probably the easiest mission of the campaign, I'm not gonna lie.
Fortune smiles on us! In Berlin, the Germans will truly see what they have unleashed. In the midst of all the blood, the bullets, and the dead, I found that an old friend was still very much alive. Dmitry Petrenko! I saw this man cheat death, time after time at the siege of Stalingrad. As long as he lives, the heart of this army cannot be broken. He makes us all proud.
The Soviets pushed into Berlin going by train that was commandeered by them. Berlin's defense consisted of 45,000 Defense Force soldiers, or Wehrmacht, and 40,000 civilian soldiers. The Soviet invasion force consisted of 2.5 million soldiers. We enter Ring of Steel in Pankow, Germany, just outside of Berlin. First thing in this mission, I get rocket launched at my feet and survive, but it does launch me into the air. I've not mentioned this yet, but one thing I miss about COD campaigns is the inclusion of maps from the campaign in other game modes. Earlier, we saw Airfield, and in the same mission, the original Zombies map, Nacht on Toten. This map that we're currently on was also included in multiplayer as Upheaval. We push through just to see an execution happen, and then we push into an asylum, which again was included in multiplayer as Asylum, then later as a Zombies DLC called Verrucht. I feel like this doesn't happen much, and I mentioned it in the Black Ops 6 campaign, and I feel it's so rare.
Do you hear something? No. That is why I am suspicious.
One of the things I love as you move through the asylum is that you hear different noises kind of like that, but there is nothing around you. This game came out in 2008. The sound difference between shooting in an open room that appears to be like a shower, then moving into a different room that's not as hollow, you can hear the difference in sound. And to think this was the sound design that we had 17 years ago, and there are games that release in the current year of 2025 with worse sound design. Anyway, back to the campaign. We progress and the music changes as we try to eliminate the remaining soldiers. We push up, sticking behind the tank, and we hear the Commissar speak.
We will crush all who dare to resist the will of the Red Army. Abandon your posts! Abandon your homes! Abandon all hope! Hoorah!
We finish Ring of Steel with 9 deaths and 6 grenades thrown. The Soviets continued their push into Berlin as we enter into the next mission, Eviction. I'm going to say this is a crazy start to a mission. We do get an unfortunate checkpoint here and I die a couple of times, but we do eventually push through and rescue some. I've noticed this a bit more. The grenades have started to come back a bit and there's more RPGs and things. We eventually go up and we see the machine gun through the floorboards. Our teammates can now join us as we head downstairs and crawl into the smoke. We keep pushing up and we see the tanks pushing into the streets of Berlin. We are then left with the decision of serving these guys with a cease and desist from life, or they can walk free. Chernov has been bullied this whole campaign because he always has shown mercy and is pretty much a pacifist. We enter the metro, another part of the campaign that is in the multiplayer, and this was a bit of an easier mission because lights go out and you can still see but the enemies can't. We get to the end and we need to defend Reznov as he tries to open the door as it is stuck. After about a minute we are just overwhelmed with water and we end Eviction with 17 deaths and 20 grenades. Back to the Pacific Theatre where we are introduced to the PBY Catalina plane. These planes were manned by a crew named Black Cats, and they were mainly used for search and rescue missions, but they did have machine guns and cannons on for patrols overseas. We enter the mission Black Cats as Petty Officer Locke this time, not Private Miller. There's a lot of switching between turrets on this mission as we make our way through the plane, and we open fire on a fleet of naval vessels. I'm not gonna lie, this is most of the mission.
Confirmed, Hammerhead. You got smoke coming from your number 2 engine.
Gauges ain't hitting red. We should be able to hold her, as long as we don't run into any more trouble with the enemy.
I guess the Hammerhead crew spoke too soon as we need to head to rescue one of our naval fleets, and then we get attacked by planes. With that, Hammerhead goes down and we are now on our own. We move down to try and rescue as many crew members as we can from this wreckage. We have to fire on the naval vessels as we are doing this also. We finished Black Cats with 0 deaths and 0 grenades, which I never thought I would say in this campaign. Staying on the Pacific side and we go back to Private Miller. The contrast of this compared to the Eastern Front is insane. We find that they are now in Okinawa, the weather has been stopping supplies getting through due to the mud, and they are unable to get the wounded off the island. We head into Blowtorch and Corkscrew. We are met with rain and a sneak attack and our first death. It took me 25 minutes to get past that first part of this mission. In that time we had 18 deaths and 53 grenades. At this point I am again just hoping and praying for a checkpoint, but nothing is popping up. Then it happens. Now we got to flank and take out 3 bunkers. We take out the first one and the second one and move on to the third. Even though it's the Pacific Theatre, I try to do what I did in Berlin and follow the tank as close as possible. I end up being stuck inside the tank as it exploded, and we are stuck in there and can't get out. I did throw a grenade at myself, which added 1 to the death count, but there was literally no other way of getting out of that. We make it inside the bunker that we were pushing up to, and Roebuck is already in there. Making our way through the bunker and up the ladder where the mortar crew just stare at me, I take them all out because they're just kind of stood there, and we help Roebuck with an injured soldier as we prepare to take Shuri Castle. We have no supplies, but we get a drop in the morning. Roebuck tells us Shuri Castle is mainly deserted according to intel. We end Blowtorch and Corkscrew with 43 deaths and 95 grenades. Roebuck tells us of the dangers they face on the island, praying the enemy won't slit their throats in their sleep. Chances of survival were 1 in 5 and 12,000 American servicemen were lost. After this, Roebuck said they all get to go home. We go into breaking point with no ammo and the castle has already been hit by bombers. They are going to refuel and come back.
This is all we got. Share it out.
We get ambushed and stuck in the open, and Roebuck thinks there's spotters in the tunnel, so we go down there to try and make our way through. We continue to push to the castle, and a guy pops out of the ground, and we need to recover our health after killing him, so we take his hull, and avoid the grenade throwdowns. We move up to the castle ground to start taking out the mortars. I remember that you can throw mortars, and I threw it at the balcony, so that was a bit dramatic. I then decided to try and take out the other mortars with their own mortars, which I do to the second and the third one, and I feel like this should be an achievement, but it isn't. We moved up to the east building into the courtyard, also a multiplayer map, which has been remade as Dig in Black Ops 2, but I'm sure you already knew that. This feels nostalgic to me, in a weird way. I'm used to using the sniper with an Arisaka iron sight on multiplayer, but doing this in the same spot in the campaign hits different. That's mainly because World at War multiplayer is dead though. We regroup with our squad, and we see David Vonderhaar added himself to this game. For those that don't know, he was the head of Treyarch. We take to the tunnel one more time, the final push to the castle. We get to the castle and we see what we saw in Berlin. We have 3 people surrendering. We don't have a choice in this one though. Roebuck tells us to hold our fire.
Polanski, search him.
On the ground now!
Keep those hands out.
Shit! Miller! Roebuck! Miller! They killed the Sarge!
This leads to a counterattack. We have to survive this, but with the planes fueled and ready, we have a bit of an assist. We call in the airstrikes on the building and we watch as they explode. We end breaking point with 14 deaths and 43 grenades, but unfortunately Roebuck is dead, and despite him saying everyone gets to go home, the irony of him not going home makes the situation a bit more somber.
Everything that was asked of us, we've done. Every night we lay in a filthy foxhole praying the enemy won't slit our throats. Every day we're spent crawling through the mud and the dirt while bullets whistle all around. This is the enemy's last stand. When we take Shuri Castle, we go home. All of us.
That concludes the Pacific Theater missions, but we still have the Eastern Front, where the Soviets planned to storm the Parliament building in Berlin. The Soviets went through Berlin seeking vengeance with the goal of putting out a flag at the top of the building to signal victory and humiliation. We go into the heart of the Reich just after the metro is flooded.
Which do you think will lead us home? Writing about this war or fighting it?
Wretched Germany in the blood.
No one will ever read this! If you lack the stomach to kill for your country, at least show me that you are willing to die for it!
And poor Chernov, he's been bullied the entire campaign, as I mentioned earlier. He is now the one to carry the flag. We take a shortcut through to the front of the Parliament buildings. Our objective here is to destroy 4 flak guns. We slowly push up and I destroy the first of the 4 flak guns. I Panzer Shrek the second one and throw the grenade back at whoever threw it. So that's 2 down, 2 more to go. So far so good, considering this is notably one of the hardest campaign missions on Veteran. We take 26 deaths and an incredible 124 grenades after 20 minutes to make it to the 3rd flak gun, just to get cut down at the last hurdle. Heartbreaking, honestly. We take another 29 deaths and 152 grenades and 30 minutes, but we get to the 3rd flak gun and there is no checkpoint until the 4th and final one. Planting a charge on the last one and narrowly avoiding death, all 4 are down, a total of around 50 minutes and a definite 55 deaths and 176 grenades. We continue pushing towards the building after I make sure that we get the checkpoint. We make it to the steps, but it proves a bit difficult, so I find a sniper on one of the top floors of the building, and the sniping works. We progress to break in the barricade so that we can get into the building.
Load your weapons! Get up! No! Dmitri! Someone should lead us.
We end the heart of the Reich with 104 deaths and 366 grenades and an unfortunate death for Chernov. With Chernov's diary, we see a recap of what has happened in the European side so far. Before we go into the next mission, there are 3 different versions of what is read at the start, depending on what Chernov thought of Petrenko. This is based on the things that happened in 3 missions: Vendetta, Their Land, Their Blood, and Eviction.
April 30th, 1945. When he first spoke of Dmitri, Reznov told tales of a hero. Someone we should all aspire to be like. At times, I have seen him show mercy, and at others act with complete brutality. I do not understand him. Perhaps heroes need not question their actions.
The one that we got was the mixed one, and we head into Downfall. This is the first checkpoint that took quite some time. We eventually make it through to the lobby and to the stairs. We go up slowly and make our way to the top of the stairs. We see a squad enter this room, but we aren't going through there. We are going to the theatre room and to the balcony. We find the PTRS again. At this point, it's like a sixth sense to me to find a sniper in video games. I felt like I was doing well with this mission, and then I made a dumb decision. And we start back at the balcony. Second time, we make it through and the door appears to be stuck, but they make it through as well, and we continue through the building to a different balcony. Pushing through and up the stairs, we get to this domed area. Now here's where we need to lock in and play smart, laying down to peek between the barrels, taking our time, and eventually making it to the front where we watch the flag bearer die. I think he was shot, but it was a bit unclear. I'm not sure if it was explosions that were happening. I'm not 100% sure. But Reznov tells us to take the flag and claim the victory.
For the flag! Claim our victory!
You can make it, my friend. You always survive.
The honor should be yours.
As long as you live, the heart of this army can never be broken.
Things will change, my friend. As heroes, we will return to Russia's embrace.
That ends the missions on the Eastern Front as well, and the entire campaign. We finish Downfall with 38 deaths and 42 grenades. We end with a total of 209 deaths and 438 grenades thrown on the Pacific Theater or the American missions as Private Miller. As for the Eastern Front or the Soviet missions as Private Petrenko, we finished with a total of 247 deaths and 580 grenades thrown. That means there was a combined total of 456 deaths and an incredible 1,018 grenades thrown, which means the end credits roll and I get a chance to talk about the campaign as a whole, my thoughts and everything like that. Now really quickly, I'm going to keep the music playing in the background because I really do enjoy the music for World at War. It is an incredible game. If you have never played this, I am not saying play it on Veteran, by the way. However, if you have never played the World at War campaign at all, I honestly can't recommend it enough. It is such a good campaign. It is noted as one of the best Call of Duty campaigns of all time. Also, the veteran side of it is noted as one of the hardest Call of Duty campaigns as well. As I mentioned earlier, I was about 10 or 11 years old when I first played this game and I loved it. I still do. In my opinion, it's one of the best all-round Call of Duty games that's ever been created. Something I've always enjoyed looking into and researching has been World War II. It doesn't matter what part it is about World War II. It can be the guns, it can be the battles, it can literally be anything from that war. I have always wanted to do this on Veteran, and I've always wanted to record it when I did it, just because I wanted. I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't know why I wanted to record it, but either way, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and this was a lot of fun to do. It was a challenge, I will say that, and I found myself a lot of the time when I got off the game, because I got annoyed at the amount of grenades thrown at me or the amount of deaths or anything. There was so much that annoyed me with this, I'm not gonna lie. But whenever I got off, I'd be off for about 5-10 seconds and I'd instantly be like, I want to get back on it, because there was something kind of fun about it. And I think that shows how good this campaign is, the fact that you can literally put it on the hardest difficulty and die 400 times and still want to get back on and keep playing it. With that being said, I would not recommend doing this on Veteran. It doesn't matter whether it's the campaign, whether it's the multiplayer, whether it's the zombies, there is something in this game that is just incredible. Again, as I said, one of my favorite campaigns. However, we come towards the end of the credits, and for those of you that have played this before, you know what's coming. For those of you that don't, enjoy the surprise. And just like that, after the campaign and after the credits, you are put into the zombies game mode automatically. You can leave it if you want. Such a nice touch to end the campaign. Anyway, it's my time to shut up and quit yapping so that you guys can get on with your day and enjoy it. So I hope you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next one.